you guys here, you have heard me on social media or someplace, probably an operator in AI contract school, or even in the AI care school community, the consultants community. And I've just been going on and on about this NSF, National Science Foundation, and this $224 million that is about to hit the streets in America throughout the country. And it has been pressed upon my heart by the Lord to make sure that as many people that can possibly hear, that they do hear the opportunity and what this means for our communities, right? And so, as we said, this $224 million investment to build AI infrastructure in communities that are often left out or behind and have been for decades, okay? And so you'll hear, most of you guys are here for the first time, you're hearing workforce development. We do have some universities in the building. We've had over 100 people register for this event. And so we send it out to all the colleges, universities, community colleges, workforce boards, agencies, American Job Centers, and the wonderful AI consultants, which you guys are the major part of this conversation. So if you are an AI consultant, I need to make sure that, number one, you do not miss the opportunity to be on the ground floor to something so phenomenal. And so my job today is to at least show you, paint the picture of the stakes of what is actually happening. Why is this so important? Why won't this woman just shut up about this $224 million? And what could this potentially mean for you as an AI consultant? Okay. And so it is imperative that rural communities, low-income communities are not left out of what I'm calling the next wealth wave. AI is a wealth wave, and my consultants understand that to be true. Understand it very well to be true. Now, while many people who are currently working in workforce development, government is a little slow to adopt AI in various aspects, of certain government infrastructure. And there's this myth that says, AI is going to take jobs. Now, is it a myth, or is AI really going to take jobs? I believe AI will absolutely reshape the way we work. And so this is the opportunity for many of us to reskill and tool up in a different way. So not that we can compete with AI, because we cannot, but that we can learn how to manage, how to create, how to improve, enhance our quality of life by managing this, what I call king of knowledge in the land. It is all knowing, right? While some might say it is not all powerful, it is definitely all knowing. And so I have these in my opening remarks just a few days ago in my sleep. I heard the Lord say very clearly, wealth impacts health. And while we see on social media, we've heard a lot of people say, my health is my wealth. The Lord said wealth impacts health. And I was like, Lord, what do you mean by wealth impacts health? And of course, I had to go into the ChatGPT. I had to find scriptures. I had to find some things to help me really put this thing in perspective, and which is why I want to share that with you this morning as my opening remarks. 3 John 1 and 2 says, brother, I pray above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Now, we've heard that scripture for many of us that, grew up in the church, maybe not. We've heard that scripture. And how that was described to me and how I understood it is that health is not disconnected from prosperity. Right? Our health is not disconnected from the prosperity. If God says your wealth impacts your health, the body, the soul, the household, the economy, they're all connected to each other. When we say wealth, we're not just talking about a bank account. Wealth is access to the right rooms, to the right systems, to the right conversations. Wealth is options, because when you have options, you have power. Wealth is peace, the kind of peace that lets you sleep at night, make clear decisions, and show up fully for your family. Wealth is stability. Vision is ownership. So the people in our communities who have been excluded from economic opportunities have not just been denied money, ladies and gentlemen. They have been denied the conditions that makes a full life possible. And many of you are you are part of that community who have been robbed of opportunities, barriers put up in front of you. Your pathways have been obstructed. However, in this particular season of AI, that cannot be any longer. We have in our possession, in our hands, the most powerful tool that we probably will ever have again in our lifetime. AI is the next wealth wave. And if rural communities, right? This is the National Rural Workforce Summit. So the Lord wants us to pay attention, not just to the big cities, the Washington, D.C.s, the New Yorks, the Phillies, the Chicagos, the Miamis, not to the big cities where everything moves so fast, but to the smallest county, country, side road out there. No man can be left out of this wealth wave. And I believe the intent of the AI action plan, the White House AI action plan, was written for every American. I don't care what people say out there on the internet. This is God. God said the earth belongs to the Lord. Everything in it belongs to Him. And so I am here. I am part of His family. I am in this earth. Everything in it belongs to Him. Therefore, I get access and stewardship. And because AI is now available, we have to make sure that everybody gets access to the same tools and access to the systems that can make this next wealth wave possible for generations to come. Because if rural communities miss it, the damage compounds for another generation. And I don't know about you, based on how we looking at and how we seeing all this crazy stuff, this is like compounded, generational theft of wealth. So we may look at a thing today and want to judge it when you really can't. You really got to go back to the beginning to be able to have a full picture. Wealth impacts physical health, which means that when we are denied wealth, we are also denied the conditions to be healthy. That's powerful. When we are denied wealth, we are denied the conditions to be healthy. So this is not inconvenience. This is a slow, violent death, a slow erosion. When a family cannot afford healthy food, safe housing, reliable transportation, basic medical care, that's not a personal failure. That is a predictable outcome that the system has extracted wealth from these communities and it never returned it. Okay. So poverty taxes the body. It does not just make life hard. It makes people sicker. It makes people's lives shorter and it makes people more exhausted. And that is why what we are doing today is a public health intervention. So this is not just about putting money in your pocket. It is about restoring what is broken. So when we put AI income into the hands of rural operators in rural communities and workforce professionals, we are not just changing careers, but we are literally changing conditions by which people live, play, operate, exist, raise kids, and the whole 9 yards. Wealth impacts mental and emotional health. Poverty is the theft in the margin. Now, when ChatGPT will drop some stuff on you, you'll be like, whoa, what? I don't know about you, but I have been blown away by some of the things that, whether it's chat, Claude, Perplexity, all of it. It is just massive, the amount of information that we are able to get to just enhance whatever it is that we're doing. When it said that the poverty is actually not the lack of money, but it was the theft in the margin. So if any of you have ever watched Shark Tank, you always hear people say, well, what's your profit margin? If you're a business person, you understand that you have expenses and you have income. And basically what is left over is what they call profit. And there is this percentage of that relates to the expenses versus what you put out and the cost of doing goods. That's a profit margin, right? So the theft is in the margin. I want you to just kind of think about that for a minute. Trust and believe. I know y'all like, is this church or did we come to the AI skills to pay the bills summit? It's all one and the same. It's one and the same today. The theft is in the margin. Peace, when your peace is robbed because you can't pay your bills. When you are stressed, I don't know about you, but I've been in those situations where I couldn't pay my bills. I ain't have enough skills or something was going on. You know what I'm saying? The economy made it look like it was just me, but it was times where I just was robbed. I was robbed and withheld opportunities, and that was real. Stress, your nervous system never shuts down. So if poverty is the theft of margin, the theft of peace, the theft of decision-making power, then I want you to look at this slide that you see on the screen and think about the people that we serve. Now, workforce development, what they call the WIOA, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It is created to serve people with barriers, low-income people with barriers to employment, right? Now, these low-income people with barriers to employment, every single person on the slide, one of them have asked that before. I can't afford the gas. I can't even miss work today. I'm sick. My son is sick, but I can't miss work because I got bills to pay. I got to hand in this paperwork on time. You know what I'm saying? What am I missing now? Where did I fall short now? That day late, I was short. And every one of these questions is running in the background of somebody's mind, probably even right now today. You may have a real need financially. And in real time, in addition to trying to make a decision about your future. So here you are trying to just deal with what's current, and then you're trying to make a decision for your future. And that is what poverty does to the brain. It steals the margin. It crowds our vision. It makes survival feel like the only option. Our job as operators and workforce professionals as institutions is to create enough economic stability that people can finally think forward instead of just surviving for today. And I believe in this particular moment with AI is now everybody's ability, should they desire it, it is their ability to do more than just survive, but thrive in this AI economy. Wealth impacts spiritual health as well. Proverbs 29:18 tells us, where there is no vision, the people perish. Poverty whispers lies. It tells people that they don't belong in these rooms, that they are too late, that prosperity is for someone else, that survival is not their portion. That survival is their portion. And who would know this better than myself? I was once a struggling welfare mom, raising 4 sons on a system that wanted me to be and stay dependent on that system. I went from begging the system with my hands out to getting paid by the system to deliver hands up to people who actually need that. So see, when those whispers go unchallenged long enough, they stop sounding like lies and they start sounding like the facts of life. That is where we are here. That is why we're here today, to dismantle. Not with a program. We're not going to dismantle it with a program. We're not going to dismantle it with just a curriculum, but we're going to dismantle it with truth. And the truth is, this room was built for you. So if you are an AI consultant and you've never heard workforce development before and government funding and grants and contracts, this moment is built for you. And I need to make sure if nobody else gets that in this room, my AI consultants out there get it and understand. Now I'm gonna put the disturb on, and that don't even count. For the federal government, the federal government just put a $224 million funding announcement behind the kind of work that says AI is for every corner of this country and not just for the big cities. It is for every single corner of this country. However, it's only if you believe it and if you work towards making sure that that thing is real for you. Wealth impacts generational health. I think you guys need to, I'm sure you understand that. When communities are excluded from wealth waves, damage compounds across generations. When one generation is denied, the next has to fight to recover. And that's what my generation has been trying to fight to recover what has been robbed from the generation before us. And so our children will have to fight based on what has been robbed from us in this generation. And that is not an opinion, that's history. That is actual factual. Wealth is not just cash. Wealth is exposure. It is language. It is networks, confidence. It's land. It's ownership. It's digital real estate. It's access, skills, inheritance, and proximity to opportunity. So when entire communities are cut out of a wealth wave, whether that's home ownership, whether that was the tech boom, the internet economy, it doesn't just hurt this generation. Exclusion compounds, and every missed wave makes the next one harder to catch. So I need us to understand that this right here is our moment. This is our moment to not just recapture what was already taken, maybe from us and the generation before us, but to pay it forward to the generations to come. And that is the wave that we're in right now. That's how powerful AI is in this that we have access to right now. Last but not least, wealth impacts civic power, and we have seen it and we see it right now today. Wealth is not just personal success, it is civic power, it's community protection. When we see our communities not protected, it's self-determination. We see that when people just give up and don't want to move forward. And here's what no one is talking about. Wealth is not just about what you can buy. Wealth is about what you can do. When you have wealth, you can advocate with force, with vigor. You can negotiate from a position of strength. You can build, not just comply. You can exit a bad situation at any time. You can govern when you have wealth. And without wealth, you are forced to comply. So with wealth, you can challenge and build at the same time. And that is the difference between a community that shapes its future and a community that absorbs whatever the future brings. And I'm talking about our community. Those of you that are in here who answered the call, who decided to come in, I'm talking about our communities. You see it every day when you drive in and out to work, to and from school, or to the grocery store. AI income in the hands of rural operators, urban operators, low income, operators or operators that represent low income communities is not personal gain. It is civic infrastructure that we cannot afford to lose. And so for my AI operators on here, if you don't get nothing else, what you are doing is way more than learning AI. You are not just teaching AI. You are not just making money. You are literally changing and repairing the breach. And that's a powerful place to be. And because right now we're standing at the beginning, we're really, and I don't even know, I said at the beginning of a wealth wave, of the AI wealth wave. It's like a tongue twister. The AI wealth wave. Today, on top of that wave, you see the pioneers. They may be the Elon Musk and the people who create, what's his name, the Manus, the Meta. You see these giants, you know what I'm saying? And they're out there and they're pioneering, they're surfing, they're building the future that we are now working in. They're creating the wealth. They caught it early. They're positioned and they are riding this wave, ladies and gentlemen. And on the shore, many of our communities right now, I would probably say 85% of America is sitting on the shore thinking some people want to fight the wave. Well, the wave is too big to fight. Good luck. You're going to be fighting by yourself. I don't know how you can fight AI because it's here. It's going to be everywhere. So whether you get along now, get on, you're going to get on eventually. Just like for those maybe who fought the computer. What are you doing today without one? What? So AI is not coming, it is here. So on the shore, you have, low-income communities looking like, well, what is this? You hear all these stories and all of these conflicting, theories and views, but you're not participating, right? And some people are not participating for various reasons. So the looming questions over everybody's heads as they watch the performance of others. We are now watching, when you scroll on social media, you're watching the performance of everybody else. Asking the same question that have been asked about every wealth wave in American history. This is not new. We've seen this before. We've seen the homeownership wave. We've seen where communities were redlined out of it. We've seen the internet economy, where communities were digitally divided out of it. We've seen every single time a new wealth wave arrives, the same communities end up on the shore. not because they didn't want to ride, but simply because no one showed up before the wave peaked and said, this wave is for you. Here is your surfboard. Let me show you how to ride this wave. And so the NSF just signaled $224 million. The White House put AI skills in the action plan. The Department of Labor published the literacy framework and guidance to use its funds for artificial intelligence, AI skill development for youth and adults. The federal government is saying as clearly as it has ever said anything, this wave is here. The only question that now matters in this room today is the one on this slide. Will rural America, will low-income communities get to ride the wave, or will they watch it from the shoreline again? And how they ride that wave is where is the purpose of this whole entire summit. Prayerfully, our communities won't have to stand on the shores. They can actually participate, which is why we're here at the summit, to show people how to get involved on the AI wealth wave, to show my consultants, where you fit in this funding opportunity. This federal AI opportunity is on one side, local low-income communities are on the other, and in the middle, this summit, this program, these operators, you are the people that will be deployed into these communities. If we look at the bridge, we'll see our AI consultants parachuting, right? They're parachuting in from we don't know where they're coming from. They're coming from the AI contract school. They're coming from the AI cash school. They're coming in skilled, ready to deploy, their skills into the communities, right? They're not parachuting empty-handed. They're licensed operators carrying an aligned Department of Labor AI literacy framework and curriculum with experiential learning and outcomes that you can measure. They are ready to connect and partner with workforce existing eligible training providers. Everything a statewide convening hub needs to include in their NSF, Department of Labor, letters of intent is in this room today. So here is your AI deployment court to be able to submit in your statewide efforts. So that is not a coincidence to me. That is a divine orchestration of infrastructure. The program is built. The operators are ready. The communities are waiting, and the bridge, it is wide open. And that brings us to what you need to know next. Because up next, we're going to dive briefly in to what is the NSF Tech Access AI Ready America Initiative and what states should consider to win the first round of funding that is due July 16th.